found the switch. Now I need to activate it. Or alternatively, die. So I can just do a little tiny jump. Lara. Nope. No way out from that one, I'm afraid. So I can't see any other way of doing this other than falling down that pit and then dying. Goodbye, Lara. So I'm guessing from here I can jump over that fence. Again, affordances wise, a big fence would give you the impression as a player that you're not going to be able to get over. Okay, so this is just a case of me getting back to where I was before. And dying. Let's check. I can get over it. So limited loss of health. You should never really force the player to lose health if they're playing the game properly. And you want to give the player as much agency as possible, and in a lot of cases make them feel like a badass. So what I've done here is really, in that respect, is really a fail. Perhaps if you are playing the game properly as opposed to me playing it, that may be the case. Okay, so I'm back in this area. I've done all of this section. Let's go back up to the top. I mean, I've got to give it to myself 28 years ago that, frustrating as it might be, you do get a massive Dark Souls sense of reward when you've managed to achieve these ludicrous convoluted routes. You manage to unlock or unravel these convoluted routes. So, and I can see here in a lot of cases I've tried to stop the player getting out of the level. I'm going to go and have a look down here again, simply because I can't find anywhere else to go without dying. And so a really important part of Lara's moveset is the fact she can walk, and again this is giving us more tools to play with. So and it's also safety first, so you're giving her an opportunity here to, you're giving the player an opportunity here to be able to precisely measure and time and judge their jumps. Wondering whether I can get across it from over here. It appears no. So let's have a look. Is this a secret area or something more exciting? I do remember being very disappointed with the top. I'm not quite sure. I think it was because of the size of the static mesh meant that if part of it went off screen, it would stop drawing it, so you'd end up with a part of the roof of St. Paul's basically disappearing. So here's a puzzle. So how do I turn that off? Do I turn it off? Do I pour something on it? Will we ever know? So from a level design perspective, obviously we, going back to the original version here, I'm just flipping through these with a button that Crystal Dynamics and Saber have provided. Thank you. But we obviously couldn't show the ground level. We didn't have enough polys obviously to be showing or indeed building any form of street furniture. So I quickly realised that the draw distance would kind of do the work for me. So that's why we've got these blacked out areas below. It seems to make sense. In reality, obviously, you'd be able to see vehicles moving around. Okay, I found another way of dying. Yeah, so we've got a kill floor there, which I should have put the kill floor higher, really, so it should have just ended with a scream because you actually hit the floor there. So that looks like something I can get to down there. I'm almost certain that I'm going to die trying. Okay, the Skinner box dopamine rush of the secret area. Okay, so this is a bit of an ugly corner. So it's really to do with the scale of the tiles. So I've got the scale wrong on the tile. So this is quite common with junior environment designers, which I was at the time. I see it a lot in first year students where you've got bricks the size of skips, and I don't mean the crisps. So that's the place I want to get to. I want to get over to there. And there doesn't seem to be any direct critical path to get to it, which is saying something, considering it was me that made it. So we've got two routes here. Again, I'm not sure why. So I'm kind of letting the player see the route, and this is obviously some sort of puzzle. And I've also, well, Phil has denoted it with some flags to show that something important is happening here. Well, let's hope that was the purpose. So again, you know you're on the right track if you are getting attacked. So enemies, very much like pickups, guide you as a player. Aha! Switch. Shoot that wall there just in case. These areas here are kind of the backrooms areas where I couldn't really be too bothered texturing them properly, unfortunately. So this was something that was introduced, and this was readability for readability and affordance purposes. So it's kind of partially idiotic from an actual aesthetic or reality perspective, but we put a cover on the button so that from a player perspective you knew you couldn't press them until you'd opened the cover. So it's a kind of two-stage switch, which again just gave us a few more tools as designers. I mean, I'm not sure if anybody else used that. And so why am I cutting to this camera? Just for the purposes of my own entertainment. This is really kind of a spectacle reveal, a vista, as Valve might call it, but obviously not quite as impressive as it used to be. I think that little shack is just a little shed from the Chatsworth estate. So it's a kind of, it's like a travelogue really of my 30s. You can't get over to the house from this side, I see. So this is really area denial as foreshadowing. So you want to get over to that house or those houses, and that kind of drives you on, and it's a massive reward when you actually get over there. So it's progress as a reward, really. Okay, so that's not bad level design around the hub area there, really. Gibby's nightmare there with regards to the diagonals on the blocks caused a lot of what we used to call breakdancing bugs, where Lara would break dance on the spot. Okay, now that looks like the sort of thing that, if I don't die in the meantime, go away rats. Is there an actual gameplay mechanic where you can get rid of these? Now, I would have said there would have been something in there, like a bicycle in a tube, classic design. And you've got to play this game very much like Dark Souls. If you start getting frustrated and trying to rush through it, you will make mistakes, and it's all very much to do with the very precise nature of the manoeuvring. Yeah, and these little textures, I think we picked these up when we were travelling around either Ireland or Scotland. Lots of photographic research. I mean, obviously it doesn't look like it because of the... I think that was from an old dovecot or ducot up near Edinburgh when we were up visiting Mary King's Close, obviously. Anything spooky. And again, I kind of grew up in a rural area with... there was a big forest at the top of the hill that we thought was haunted, and so this kind of was a little bit of a nod to my own childhood, obviously not with regards to tiny imps and the Cossacks hidden in the barn. So sound-wise, I think I asked Pete for curlews. So I've got a childhood memory of waking up in the middle of the night to a field of thousands of curlews all crying out plaintively, which is true and weird, kind of really creepy. I used to live right next to where the witch trials were. Well, that's neither here nor there. And this is always nice from a level design perspective, is that doors that you know, areas that are closed off, and when you haven't got a lot of areas. So if you've got like 3 major buildings that you can't get into, that have very obvious doors on them, the entrance has got to be on this side somewhere. Is it over there? I wonder. It's quite a nice objective, and it's not overwhelming, you know, from a chunking perspective with regards making sure the player's not overwhelmed. If they've just got a set of buildings with very clear doors on them that they can it's a massive reward when we get these open, you know. Okay, so I've just dived back in here to show this side channel because this is quite good design practice, really. So I think the idea here was really to show the player that you can get inside that building, and that's quite good. That's foreshadowing, and when you actually get into the building, that's going to give you a great sense of progress. Okay, let's see. Okay, so yeah, I mean that is a backflip, but that's not as bad as some of the ones in the Tomb Raider 3 levels. None of this makes sense from an architectural perspective, obviously. Okay, and this is what I was looking for. This is a nice bike, isn't it? I learned how to make bikes like that from Fighting Force. In fact, that probably is a Fighting Force model that I've reskinned. And I used to grow up on a farm, and there was always lots of old furniture and old bikes and old cars lying around. So there's always to get into there. So again, really, that should turn off. You don't want to keep routing back through the drawers because, from a readability perspective, there's 3 drawers there, and you kind of start thinking, "Oh, is there somewhere that I can get to the other drawers?" So once you've opened that drawer, the affordance or the icon telling you can use it should turn off. So I've got that now. So I combine. And here we are, the genius of the combine tool. When is a weapon not a weapon? When it's a pitchfork in a tube combo. So that's very nice, quick way out. So if a player's had to perform kind of complex traversal to get to an area, good level design practice is often to get them out of that area again without them having to backtrack and repeat the same maneuvers. So, which is what I've done here. So well done, Andy, for a change. So thanks again for continuing to watch. Please like as much as possible and subscribe. That tells YouTube that you like the content and allows me to make more of it. So thank you. See you in the next one. Was there a purpose to any of that? Oh yeah, I got the key. Okay, I got some sort of key. Did I get a key? Yeah, the flu room key. Up high above the London streets. Wow. Again, designer quietly weeps. So this obviously influenced the design of the initial tomb in Zelda Breath of the Wild. I'm joking, of course.